Hello, football faithful. Welcome back to another episode of Eagles Talk with Deeg. My name is Brenden Deeg. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. If you can also rate the podcast and review the podcast wherever you do listen to your podcast, it would also be greatly appreciated. Ho, 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 gentlemen. The holidays came early here at Manscaped, the leading men's hygiene brand. Manscaped just launched new products, including their all-new ultra-premium body wash and a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's time to give yourself or someone who needs it the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use code DOINK for 20% off and free shipping. You can get the Performance Package 4.0 at manscaped.com. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the Signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer has proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to reduce cuts on your nuts. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant, moisturizer, and toner. It's time to keep your North Pole feeling and smelling fresh. Get 20% off and free shipping using code DOINK, D-O-I-N-K, DOINK at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping using code DOINK at manscaped.com. Take your ball defense to promised land with Manscaped. The entire website right now is currently 25% off, so make sure to check out Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals at manscaped.com. Episode is also sponsored by Coolbet. Coolbet is the most transparent gaming company in the world. Coolbet also provides the best odds in Canada with world-class customer service. For first-time users, use the deposit code DOINK, D-O-I-N-K, DOINK, for a 100% welcome bonus up to $200 when signing up with Coolbet. That's code DOINK, D-O-I-N-K, DOINK, and Coolbet will match your first deposit up to $200. Give our friends at Coolbet Canada a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Coolbet Canada. Coolbet, say cool. And bet responsibly. My friend and my man, Thomas Petersen, is back on video camera, looking good. Thomas, how we doing?
We're vodcasting.
We are vodcasting
for the first time.
For the first time, I thought you could see our beautiful faces on this Thanksgiving, which we are both very jealous of. You Americans celebrating it. Unfortunately, I am Canadian. He is. So, what does Denmark have a Thanksgiving holiday?
I mean, it's like Halloween. We don't really have it, but it's starting to grow a little bit more. There are some families who get a little bit more into it. Halloween exploded for some reason this year, but Thanksgiving is still a little bit behind. When I play football, we used to do it like in my organization. We used to just get together and just make a bunch of food.
Yeah.
But no, not really. No, I only use it. Only use it to eat banana cream pie.
You got a banana cream pie in the oven, apparently. That sounds pretty darn good. All your plates on Twitter and all the food on Twitter is looking good. So Americans celebrate Thanksgiving accordingly. And we wish you happy Thanksgiving. Let's talk some Eagles football here. Eagles win 40-29, final score, right, against the New Orleans Saints at home. They get their first home victory. Jalen Hurts, man, he didn't do a lot in the passing game, which we'll get into, but he did a lot in the run game. Thomas broke his entire game down at Breaking the Birds on his YouTube channel. It's a very good video. Recommend watching it. Thomas, what was your takeaways from Jalen Hurts' game?
I think pretty much what we've been talking about really in the past few weeks as well, Brenden, is that he is really orchestrating a dominant run offense. And so much about the Eagles' run offense, I think, kind of gets overlooked a little bit of how Jalen Hurts is affecting it, because rarely and not too often do you have offenses where the defensive ends are pretty much stalling and keying on the quarterback. You don't have, like, when you're running zone running schemes, a lot of teams do that. You'll usually have a backside end just come crashing down the line because nobody's really afraid of the running back keeping the ball or the QB keeping the ball. That is always a threat against the Eagles. And Jalen Hurts is the past few weeks, we see him pop 50 yards. We see him pop a 30-yard touchdown run there at the end, the most spectacular quarterback run I've seen in a long time. So he is a key part of why defenses are having such a hard time stopping the Eagles' offense, because on that backside of the zone running, of the zone blocking, the defensive end is gone, and you see it so many times. Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, when they're running through there and they're running it with power, they can just easily get those 5 yards. And Hurts may not have done anything on that play, but they're just the presence of him and the danger of him keeping the ball. And he is consistently making the right choices in the run read. And that is something we also knocked him a little bit for about 6 weeks ago, that keeping the ball a little bit when the defensive end is keying on him, giving it off when he's crashing inside, a little bit inconsistency there. He was on point this game. He was on point in the last game that we saw. So that is on point, and he is a key factor in that. Now, you said it yourself in the passing game. There are still some timing throws. There's some anticipation throws there where he has
Man,
so
he had
many
that
more.
one. Sorry to cut you off. That one, he had Devonta Smith wide open down the field, and he just didn't pull the trigger. That kind of stuck out to me from your video.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as we've seen it before with some of the deep guys open. I mean, that one was a little bit more tricky because the safety was running with him. And when we watched it in all 22, we can clearly see Devontae separating 30 yards down the field. So if you just pull the pin and throw it at the 20, he's going to get open eventually down the field. But we've seen worse. Let me just say that. And he does get out the pocket on that play and picks up 5 yards. And so I mean, I'd rather him, if he doesn't trust the throw, I'd rather him just doing what he's comfortable doing.
Correct, yeah.
But I'd also like him to see. Also like to see him, getting a little bit more comfortable with some of those timing passes and trying them. It's a winning formula right now because they're dominating so much in the running game. They can sort of expand a little bit in the passing game. This is really what they should have done for week 1. Run heavy and then expand the passing game with Hurts as he's getting more comfortable and as he is really getting a feel and a flow for the offense.
No, you said I want to touch on kind of what you said later. They should have done it since week 1. I want to kind of get a big picture take from you on that in a bit. But yeah, like Jalen Hurts in this game, like his running ability is completely confusing defenses and causing them fits. Like the Saints defensive ends in this game had no idea what to do. Like they were confused.
No idea.
And like Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator of the Saints, is like a veteran defensive coordinator. He's been around. He's seen every offense you can throw at him. And like he's probably watching this film right now, like what the F? Like what do we do? Like how did we stop this guy? And that you said it perfectly. This team is becoming, or this offense is becoming an offense you don't want to play against. You don't want to go up. Like defenses don't want to have to tackle Jalen Hurts. Don't want to have to tackle Jordan Howard. They don't want to have to tackle Miles Sanders running full speed. Like this team right now running full speed at you is a team you don't want to play against. And Jalen Hurts, like you said, in the passing game, he missed some throws. The run game, he was awesome. I dug up some stats just like the last 4 weeks because I think his throwing is getting better. Like you're seeing improvement. Didn't really see a ton of it in the Saints game, but over the 3 weeks prior, you have. Over the last 4 weeks, Jalen Hurts in from the 10 to 20 yard range, Jalen Hurts is 13 to 21 for 204 yards and a touchdown. That is dramatic progression. I don't care what you say about him the first 7 weeks. Yes, he had some rough patches, but that is really strong progression. And he's not making mistakes in those areas. He's not making the big interception. He's not turning the ball over. Jalen Hurts is becoming a better quarterback in front of our eyes.
He is, yeah. And really the mistake-free style of football is also it's a must when you're playing this kind of football because they're not getting those massive explosive plays, 70-yard bomb down the field, touchdown, and 4-play drives. Usually when Eagles have the football right now, it's 8 plays, 10 plays, 11 plays, 6 minutes plus, drive it down the field, where the defense is out, and then score. They're really efficient in the red zone, especially in the past.
They have a top 5 offense, right, in the red zone, I believe, right now.
They do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like we talked about it last week. They were top 10 in most, if not all, analytical categories for offense, and they're only moving up.
Yeah.
And especially the run offense, considering like they didn't run the ball for how many weeks? 7 weeks.
It took until Detroit Lions, week 8.
Exactly, and even then they're fourth or third in rushing DVOA. PFF have them as maybe the second best rushing offense. So they're shooting up there despite really not having done much of it.
The run offense, like they're running. Like Nick Sirianni deserves a ton of credit for the kind of the scheme and the game plan he's coming up with. Like this isn't a normal run at rushing offense. Like this is confusing to read. Like I said, Dennis Allen, he's the coordinator, like a long-standing defensive coordinator. He didn't know what to do with it. Like they're running like 3 tight end shotgun sweeps. Like you don't see this kind of run game. Like it's very creative.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that when you look at the Saints game, you say, all right, they're missing Ryan Ramczyk, they're missing Teron Armstead, they're missing Alvin Kamara, all these key pieces being out. Well, the Eagles put up 40 points. I mean, I know there's a Darius Slay pick 6, there's bonkers nice. 33 points you put up on offense against Cameron Jordan and Marcus Davenport, maybe the 2 best edge rush defenders in the league, and Demario Davis right there in the middle, who is among the top 5 middle linebackers in the NFL, both passing and running game, and they had nothing. They had 0 answers.
Yeah,
And
nothing.
that was the litmus test for the Eagles rushing offense and how dominant it was. They came in there as over a stretch of 5 weeks being the best rushing offense in the NFL. And they went in there and they said, we're going to do what works. And they dominated doing it
Yeah.
against the best rushing defense in the NFL.
This was like the game where I think a lot of, I don't want to use the word haters, but maybe disbelievers of this run offense. Yeah. Like this was the game that kind of shut all them up. Like, we're going against the number one run defense in the NFL. We're going to run it down your throats. And now it's proven. This Eagles rushing offense, in my opinion, like the Indianapolis Colts have a really good run attack right now. Those two teams are the best running offenses in the NFL. And it's the same tree, same coaching tree, right? You got the Frank Reich coaching tree. You got Nick Sirianni came from that, right? Like, these two guys right now are putting up really creative plays. Like, I was so blown away kind of rewatching this game. It's just how cool this offense is. Like, Nick Sirianni deserves so much credit. Like, you called it out before, because when Hurts wasn't playing well in the first 6-7 weeks, you called it out and said Nick Sirianni's game plan is actually okay. Like, the passing concepts are creative. Like, and he's transitioned that into the run game as well.
Yeah, I'll take credit for that one, Herb.
You did. You did say that. I just gotta click my mind. So you get all the credit for that one. Anything more on the offense? Offensive line is playing really well.
Offensive, I was about to say. I mean, we're praising Jalen Hurts. We're praising Nick Sirianni. The reason this works, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, they are moving people.
Yeah,
it is so much fun to watch. And think back, when was the last time you watched the Eagles offense and the one thing you were maybe most excited to see was the offensive line?
Yeah, I know.
They've always been good, but they also always had like really dynamic players on offense. You know, Carson Wentz, big playmaker. Going back to Deshaun Jackson, Michael Vick. I mean,
Brian Westbrook, guys like that.
Brian Westbrook. It's always been these dynamic offensive players. And right now, I mean, we have Devontae Smith, who's in his first season and showing really, really good stuff. Jalen Hurts is coming more and more into that playmaking role. But really, one of the most exciting things to watch after a game is Jordan Mailata made that stupid block. That was so great. I mean, how the hell did he put?
He's becoming my favorite guy. He's becoming my favorite guy on the team right now. Like, he's so awesome.
And it's just, I mean, and you have Landon Dickerson right there next to him, and it's just a perfect fit of the Fritz Bros moving people.
So long term, I'm probably on board with just keeping Landon Dickerson at left guard right now.
100%.
Like Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata, they stay on the left side. You got them for the next 5 to 10 years, however long you want to throw there.
Yeah,
like, you don't bonafide that side of the line.
You don't want to screw with that chemistry.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
It's not given that a guard and a tackle hit that perfect timing on the combo blocks, knowing exactly or how much time am I gonna have to put in this defensive tackle before moving up to the linebacker before you can take over. I mean, those things that takes a ton of repetition, and really it's crazy that Mailata missed time. Landon Dickerson didn't start at left guard to begin with. So these guys are just getting into the gel and they're moving so well.
Yep. 100%. So I think Isaac Seumalo is probably like the long-term center position. Anyways, that's a conversation for another day. I think that's it on the offense. Defense is actually starting to pick it up. They've played pretty well over the last 2 weeks. Darius Slayman, this guy he's becoming he's playing out of his mind right now. Like he's
so confident, right?
I know.
He oozes confidence.
Yeah, he's playing awesome. It's so fun to watch this guy right now. He's got 5 pass breakups on the year, 3 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, 3 touchdowns. That's like the same amount as George Kittle, to put that in perspective right now. Like, he's got a defensive player of the year. Like, I don't know if he's there yet, but if he can continue this up, like, he is in the conversation.
He is absolutely in the conversation for a Pro Bowl nod to begin with.
Yeah.
If he keeps it up as he's been doing with these crazy big turnovers, then we start to get into that all-pro defensive player of the year conversation.
Yeah, like him and Jalen Ramsey are probably the best 2 cornerbacks in the NFL. He's playing phenomenal. It's so much fun to watch. Like, I love watching good cornerback play on our team. Like, we haven't had it. He's been the best corner since Asante Samuel, right? Like, I can't.
It's just the way that he plays, that quickness, that elite footwork. He just displays. He's so fast.
He's so fast. He went a 4.36 at the combine, and I never really knew that.
Look like a 4.36. He looks much faster.
Well, 4.36 is pretty darn fast. If you're running faster than that, like he's really good.
How much was Rager though?
Rager was 4.47 at the combine, wasn't it?
Right. But the alleged 40 time.
Oh yeah, there was a bunch of.
It was supposed to be a lot faster, right?
What do you make? Sorry to go back on the offense, but I am of the opinion right now that there should be no more forced touches to Jalen Reagor. No more sweeps. No more. Just we're planning touches to him. If he's right now, he has to be the second receiver or third receiver. Like they don't have anyone else on the roster, so like you can't. Like people are saying JJ are thinking, well, I should be ahead of him. No, like Reagor's still the third best receiver on the team, but I'm done with the forced touches to him.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to call it like when we're talking forced touches, we're talking like first quarter, first two quarter, like just
like sweeps, like jet sweeps to him. Like you are putting the ball in his hands on purpose. Like the play is designed to get him the ball. Like in my opinion, Kes Watkins should be getting those touches, like sweeps, jets motions, like little out, like stuff like that. The game, like the play is designed to get the ball to number 18. Does that make sense?
I don't. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes 100% sense. I still think it's kind of it's a cool wrinkle that if you can add it to the offense in certain spots where the defense are really biting hard on the inside running game, that you go to some of those plays. I wouldn't call it depends what we're putting in the word forced, because that, in my opinion, that wouldn't be forcing it. That would be complementing the running game with with speed options. With
100%. I'm not saying get rid of those plays. I'm saying give Kes Watkins the ball instead of Jalen Reagor the ball, if that makes sense. Like I'm fine with keeping the plays in, but don't let Reagor be the guy. Like for instance, they weren't kicking the ball to Reagor on purpose in that game. Like the Saints were kicking the ball short. They were begging him to make a play.
I'm not enjoying the return game at all.
And then his stats, like look, he's probably a nice guy. Like, and his social media stuff is kind of crazy, but like he's probably a good dude. But like unfortunately, the NFL is a talent game. Like he's not showing it. So like you have to throw the draft pick where you drafted out the window right now, in my opinion. Like just because he's a first round pick last year, it doesn't matter anymore. Kes Watkins is a better football player than Jalen Reagor right now, and I just think he should be getting the forced touches.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with too much about that. I don't think I'm not as I haven't given up as much on him yet. I still hope to see him start to make some plays and start to have a role in the offense, because right now it is 100% disappointing. But it's going to be on Nick Sirianni to carve out a role for him that is fitting relative to the production that he's putting on the field and some of the mistakes that he has been making. I will say though, and I think Nick did a really good job managing the relationship with Jalen Reagor and sort of the whole mental thing, because he's under a lot of fire right now, and naturally that comes with frustrations, because that's just how we are as a fan base. But coming out in the press conference and single-handedly pointing out the jailbreak screen to Jalen Reagor late in the fourth quarter.
Did he say he's like, I want that call back or something, right? He's like, that was the one call I want back. Yeah.
And it was a bad call. It was a forced back defensive side against two receivers and a tight end, and it was as soon as Reagor got the ball, it was a 2-on-block situation. So that was never going to work regardless, and it puts Reagor in a bad spot. We sit there on game day, we go, oh shit! I mean, why do we keep forcing this guy? Always something bad happens. So of course that is going to color our perception of how he's playing, and I think it's a good job by Nick Sirianni coming out and pointing that out and saying that's on me, because it was on him, and that just goes into the whole we don't need you need to see 2 more bad plays from Jalen Reagor, and then everybody is done. Like everyone will stop having faith in him, and it is on Nick Sirianni to keep being the one keeping everything in perspective and saying maybe we're not quite there, not quite finished with them, and then carve out a role.
So on the defense, they didn't play kind of the stereotypical defense that they have been. They put a ton of dime in this game. I thought that was pretty cool. I like what I saw. You're seeing adjustments. We talked about how Jonathan Gannon didn't adjust his defense and Nick Sirianni adjusted his offense. Now we're starting to see them kind of get on the same level. I really liked what I saw in his defense. I think the second half was over exaggerated. Like they were up by over 20 points, right? Like it's just natural to kind of maybe take a step back as a defense. Like I wouldn't put too much perspective into or too much take into the second half. I think the first half kind of says a lot more about the defense in this game. So I like what I saw. I think that they should be playing more dime. They should be playing more nickel defense. The base defense, like Jannard Avery on the field is not doing anything. Like he shouldn't be on the base defense. You know what I mean? Like I just think that I'm liking what I'm seeing progressing from Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah, that 5-2 defense with the Patrick Johnson, Jonathan Avery in there,
It needs to be scrapped.
It didn't work, and we haven't
it
seen it too much, and that's very nice to see because it didn't add any pressure. It didn't add anything in the coverage game. He wasn't blitzing them anyway, so it was just redundant to have them out there. And I think the way that he has schemed it has been a lot better. And that combined with Darius Slay really stepping up, TJ Edwards really stepping up, that has helped. That has helped a lot. And the pressure he's bringing is coming from different angles. We're seeing a lot more nickel blitzes. We're seeing a lot.
Yeah, like
more...
the Avonte Maddox, the first drive, right? He sent. I think the Saints got one first down, and then the next third down, he threw Avonte Maddox out there, and it worked.
And we're playing a lot more man coverage, so when the ball does come out quickly, there's someone to make the tackle there to limit the gain.
Steven Nelson had a really nice pass breakup on a man-to-man coverage.
He did. And the points that Saints were putting up there in the second half, those were also just credit where it's due. Those were really good plays by the Saints. I mean, there are some catches made. I don't remember. Troutman. That was his name. I didn't.
That was just a nice play. Like there was nothing you could do about that.
You're just going. Okay.
Yeah. Throw your hands up. Yeah. Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah. No, agreed.
That was a good all around performance, and Saints started making plays when they were desperate and had to throw it up there, and they just made some good plays there.
All right, let's zoom out a bit. Let's talk big picture here. How much? I'm trying to figure out the right way to word this. How much pushback or blame should the head coaching staff get in the first 6 to 7 weeks of the season compared to the amount of credit they get for adjusting to it? Does that make sense? Like
it makes sense
because they did wait. Like I'm not saying waste 7 weeks, but the first 7 weeks happened, right? Like it did happen, and then the next we're kind of in the tail of 2 seasons right now. Like they look like completely different football teams. So it like for instance, if they missed the playoffs by a game here, right? Like and there's a potential scenario where that does happen. They deserve, and I think they deserve blame for it, but they also deserve credit for adjusting because long term, and the way you look at this team big picture, you want your coaches to adjust to mistakes, and they've done that. So I'm kind of, my mind doesn't know where to go with this.
Okay, so I'll circle back to some of the things we've been talking about in prior podcasts, and like you mentioned that when the Eagles were losing, I was at least still looking at the tape and saying, this is not a bad offensive scheme. It is just not structured in the right order. Like you're not putting they're good plays. It's just not the right play for that time. We want to have less load on Jalen's shoulders and play more to his strength. And so I think the first 7 weeks, we can argue back and forth. I mean, how long should have had taken for Nick Sirianni to kind of figure Hurts out, figure out his strengths, and sort of mix and matching it with what Sirianni wanted to do and how he's comfortable calling plays. We can say, all right, 7 weeks is a long time. We can also say it was probably a process of Sirianni saying, I need to see how much of this you're going to be able to execute. And then when I'm confident that this is not the right path, then we're going to start getting some new plays in there and start transferring more into a run first offense. Which absolutely worked. So to answer your question, I don't think Sirianni deserves a lot of blame for the first weeks. I think it's a natural process of having a very young quarterback who is in yet another new scheme and learning that with a bunch of new young players and a coaching staff that had zero experience leading a team and structuring from a head coaching perspective and defensive coordinator perspective, putting together an offense. And so right now we're seeing them put together a game plan that week in and week out is working tremendously on offense.
No, for like 100%. Like I agree with where you're coming from. I'm torn on what the F happened for the first 7 weeks, right? Like I want to get to the bottom of it, and I know it's not something to harp on right now, but it's in the back of my mind, like because like it doesn't.
My mind a little bit. We didn't run.
Yeah, like because like it doesn't take a smart guy to figure out that. Look, you have Jalen Hurts. He's a very good running quarterback. You have a very good blocking offensive line. Like it didn't take like some like football guy. Like it's what we were preaching. It's what Eagles fans were preaching on Twitter. It's like we finally we're right. Like everyone has bad takes, but like the takes that most people had are correct in this way. It's just a funny way to look at it. Anything else big picture? Okay, I guess we got to talk playoffs here. How confident are you this team makes the playoffs? Like we are. Like before we kind of get to the Giants quickly, I was looking at the schedule. So they're 16-32, the combined opponents we play against up until Dallas. Okay. I think this Giants game is very, very crucial, which we'll get to, and the Jets game, of course. Like if you can go 7-6 into the bye week, right? I think that's where their head should be. Yeah, because Washington isn't they're not a terrible team. Like they beat the Bucks. They just beat the Panthers. Those are two pretty good NFC opponents. Yeah. So I think splitting with Washington is probably the most likely scenario. And that's not a bad scenario in my opinion either. Like if you take one, they take one. And then if you can beat the Giants twice and the Jets once, you're 4-1 right there. You are 9-7 heading into Dallas. That's a playoff spot. Yep.
It is. And even in that scenario or in that situation, if you're 9-7, let's say that, and you've played good games, we week by week we sit here and we go through. All right, the offense look really good doing this. They keep moving the ball, keep putting up points. We're seeing a lot of good. Even if the Eagles don't make the playoffs, the fact they got into that position of being right there for the wild card spot with a winning record potentially, that really changes the entire perspective of Nick Sirianni, of Jalen Hurts, and then you add 3 first-round picks, which is most likely a lock at this point with the Colts, barring injury.
2 more weeks, right? 2 more games. He's going to play
2 more games.
Yep.
So then it's looking very good because the absolute, for me, the ceiling of this season, of course, anything can happen in the playoffs, but the ceiling, the absolute success marker where you go party on Broad Street for 2021 would be a wild card win.
Yep, agreed. That's what was the ceiling for me this year. Like I thought 9-8, 10-7 was the ceiling. I thought 10-7 was probably the highest bar they could hit, and it's there. Like I don't know if they're going to run the table here. Like again, who knows? There's still so much football left, but they're in a very, very good spot, and that brings us to
and we're feeling good, and that is what this season is.
The team has juice. There's juice.
Exactly. You keep adding talent. I love the fact that we're extending young players where we go. Of course, he needed an extension because he's been playing good. He's been playing well.
I thought the Maddox extension was a bit of an overpay, but it was fine. Like I think it's the worst thing in the world.
It's going to be good, like relative moving forward. When we have more cornerback extensions, it's going to be right there in the 20-25 marker.
All right, let's talk Giants quickly here. I guess the biggest news coming out of Giants camp right now is that Kadarius Toney has not practiced in back-to-back days with a quad injury. So I came into this podcast like ready to say like that's the one guy you don't want them to beat you because he's their best player. In my opinion, he's just so underutilized on that roster too. I can't believe they don't use him better. He's a really good football player. That's the one guy. If he's not playing, then you're basically looking at Saquon Barkley to shut him down, and then that's much it. Like the Giants don't have anything. This is a dead team walking right now. In my opinion, they're looking at a new coach, new GM, new quarterback coming in 2022. So I think this is a game that the Eagles should win. This is a game that they have to win, and I don't see a reason why not. Like the Giants are 30th in rush defense DVOA right now. It's a team they just dominate the first range.
They're allowing so much pressure on Daniel Jones. So
yeah,
this is a game
he was pressured against the Bucs.
It's incredible. Yeah. But the Bucs are also extremely good at bringing pressure.
That's true.
This is a game that Jonathan Gannon has to call a good game.
Yeah, agreed. You can't sit back and let Daniel Jones is like he's not terrible, but when he's got time, like when he's got time to throw the ball, he can pick you apart. Like he can make some throws, and his rushing ability is also something they have to take advantage of. They don't want that 70-yard run where he fell over himself again.
Exactly. So, and it's second divisional game. You have to bounce back from that Cowboys game 100%.
Can't believe they've only played one division game. It's crazy. Bunch are coming up. All right, let's get predictions in here quickly. I think this game's going to be closer. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I predicted 30-13 against the Saints. I just had that feeling. I think the Eagles haven't won a close game yet. They haven't had to kind of come down the wire to a game like Jalen Hurts never got the ball back in the. Yeah, I guess you could throw that one in there. That game kind of took a spin, though, right? Like they kind of took over towards the end. But yeah, the Panthers won. But there hasn't been really like a kind of a nail biter. I don't know if I'll say nail biter here, but I think this game is going to be closer than people think. It always is with the Giants, right? Like it's never that easy against official opponents. Eagles still win. I'm going 27-20.
27-20. All right. I think when I've been predicting Eagles losses, they usually win. So for the voodoo,
don't you dare predict a loss of the G-men.
I'd have to go with a win for the G-men. That is not going to happen. I have a lot of faith in the offense and their ability to move the ball, and I don't see how the Giants are going to stop them. So I think the Eagles are comfortably going to win this game, and it's going to be a matter of whether or not their Giants are going to score in garbage time. I'm going to go 35-17.
35-17. They'll blow a victory. I like it. Alrighty. Thanks so much for listening, guys. We really appreciate it. Thomas and I will be back next Thursday. I'll be with Andrew DeCecco of Inside the Birds on Tuesday. He'll be making his first appearance on Eagle Stock with Deeg. Looking forward to that. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It would also be greatly appreciated. Make sure to check out Thomas's YouTube channel. He did a ton of great work on the channel this week, so make sure you check that out, and we'll talk to you later.